Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating concept from the world of aviation safety that, trust me, has huge lessons for all of us in our daily lives. It's called the 5 hazardous attitudes, and once you see them, you might just change the way you make decisions forever.
But first, let me ask you something. Picture a modern airplane, all that incredible technology, the backup systems, the amazing engineering. When you think about all of that, what do you think is the single most dangerous part?
You know, it's not a piece of equipment, it's not an engine or a wing, it's the pilot's mind. Yep. For all its brilliance, the human brain is the one component on board that can decide to override every single safety system. And that's exactly what we're going to get into.
So to really understand this mind in the machine, we got to look at what the experts say. The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, has actually identified specific mental traps that can seriously mess with a pilot's judgment when the pressure's on. They call them hazardous attitudes, and the most important word there is shortcut. See, the FAA doesn't see these as some deep, dark character flaw. No, they're just mental shortcuts, patterns of thinking that feel fast and efficient, but can lead to absolute disaster under pressure. All right, so let's break these 5 dangerous mindsets down, one by one, because just being able to recognize them is the first huge step to beating them, whether you're at 30,000 feet or just trying to navigate your daily life. First up, we've got anti-authority. This is the don't tell me mindset. You know this one. It's that feeling that rules are for other people, for beginners. Someone with this attitude truly believes they know better than the procedure or the regulation.
And this just paints the perfect picture, doesn't it? It's not just a thought. It becomes an action. Ignoring a checklist, dismissing air traffic control, these are real, tangible signs that a pilot thinks the rules simply don't apply to them.
Our second attitude is impulsivity. This is the do-it-quickly trap. It's that powerful gut feeling that you need to do something, anything right now, instead of taking a breath and actually thinking the situation through.
You can totally picture this, right? The pilot who's running a little late, so they just rush through the pre-flight inspection. This mindset trades careful thought for quick action, and in aviation, well, that is an incredibly dangerous trade to make.
Next, we've got a really subtle one, but it's super common. Invulnerability. The little voice in your head that says, it won't happen to me. It's this core belief that accidents are just stories you read about, things that happen to other people who are less skilled or maybe just less lucky.
Wow, that image is powerful. A pilot flying straight into a storm, smiling, totally confident, just because they've done it before and gotten away with it. This kind of overconfidence makes people take wild, unnecessary risks, because they truly believe they're exempt from the consequences.
Attitude number 4 is the macho mindset. Now, this isn't just about confidence. It's about having to prove something. The driving thought is, I can do it, or more like, watch this. It's all about showing off how skilled you are.
And this is the classic example, isn't it? Pushing the plane to its limits, not because the situation demands it, but just to impress somebody. In this scenario, the pilot's ego is flying the plane, and safety has taken a back seat.
And our 5th and final attitude is resignation. This is the what's the use mindset. It's this deep feeling of helplessness, where a pilot starts to believe the situation is totally out of their hands and nothing they do will make a difference anyway.
This visual is just chilling. Instead of actively flying the plane and working the problem, the pilot just gives up. They've mentally checked out. They've surrendered control and decided to leave the outcome completely up to fate. Okay, so these attitudes rarely show up alone. Let's see how they can pile up in a real-world situation and create, well, the perfect anatomy of a very bad decision. So put yourself in the cockpit for a second. You're flying, everything's going fine, and then the weather, which was supposed to be clear, just starts to fall apart. The clouds are closing in, and your visibility is dropping fast.
What do? Here's the critical part. Your next move isn't really about your technical skill. It's going to be determined by which one of these hazardous attitudes is buzzing around in your head at that exact moment. So let's listen in on that internal monologue. The invulnerable pilot thinks, I've flown in worse. It'll be fine. The macho pilot thinks, amateurs would turn back, but I can handle this. And the anti-authority pilot, they just decide, I'm not going to bother air traffic control with this. I'll figure it out on my own.
The impulsive pilot doesn't even get that far. Their only thought is a knee-jerk reaction. Got to do something now, so they just make a sudden, rash move. And if things get really bad, the pilot prone to resignation just throws their hands up and thinks, well, I guess this is it. See, All 5 paths lead straight to danger. So, how do you fight this stuff? Well, this is the best part. The FAA didn't just identify the problems, they also developed the solutions. Let's take a look at the mental antidotes for each one of these hazardous attitudes.
And here it is. This is the absolute key takeaway. The FAA created a direct, simple antidote for each attitude. This is all about building a conscious habit of correcting yourself. So when your brain defaults to a dangerous thought like, "It won't happen to me," you train yourself to immediately fire back with, "It could happen to me." These aren't just empty phrases, they're like mental fire extinguishers, designed to stop a hazardous thought before it turns into a dangerous action.
Now, these were developed for pilots, but it's pretty obvious these attitudes don't just stay in the cockpit, do they? We see them in business meetings, in our personal relationships, even when we're just driving to the grocery store. We are all, in a way, piloting our own lives.
And that brings us to the final and I think the most important question. This isn't just about pilots, it's about you. It's about self-awareness. So look at that list again. Be honest with yourself. Which one of those sounds a little familiar? Because identifying your own go-to hazardous attitude, well, that's the very first step to becoming a safer, smarter pilot of your own life.